قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه. أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this live episode of Ask Zad, coming to you every Sunday at 4 o'clock here in Mecca region. As usual, we'll go straight to your calls, and the first caller is Misbah from Pakistan. Misbah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, my wife's father passed away and she still has a sister unmarried. Who would be her wali then?
When a father passes away, the guardian or the wali of his daughter would be, number one, the paternal grandfather. Paternal, not maternal. The maternal cannot be a guardian or a wali in nikah, in marriage. If the grandfather does not exist, he's dead, then her guardian would be her son, if she has a son and he's an adult. If she doesn't have a son, her guardian would be her paternal brother that shares the same father or mother with her. And her paternal brother, who shares only the father and not the mother, in the presence of the full brother, cannot be her guardian. If she doesn't have any siblings, male siblings, then her paternal uncles would become her guardians. If she has no paternal uncles, then her paternal cousins, male cousins, the closest one to her, relative-wise, would be her guardian, and so on. If she has no one from her father's side at all, then the Muslim ruler or the Islamic judge or the one who represents them, and that is the authorized imam of the Islamic center, would become her guardian, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Muhammad from the US.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, and I quote, "Do not sell gold for gold, silver for silver, wheat for wheat, barley for barley, dates for dates, and salt for salt, except if it is equal in weight, equal in value, and of the same quality, and if the exchange is immediate and hand-to-hand," end quote. According to this hadith, whoever doesn't fulfill these conditions in regards to the exchange of these 6 items has fallen into riba. Sheikh, what I wanted to ask you today was, would these conditions of exchange be applicable to all other items aside from the 6 explicitly mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ? For example, if I were to exchange 10 copper coins with 12 copper coins of the same kind, or if I were to exchange 10 glass vessels of olive oil with 12 glass vessels of the olive oil of the same kind, and so on and so forth, have I fallen into riba? Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazakum. This is an issue of dispute among scholars who looked into these 6 categories, and they differed. Some say it is intended for itself. Some say it was given just as an example. And there are so many different views. The most authentic opinion is that these 6 categories are divided into 2 main categories. The first category is gold and silver. And the reason of prohibition here is that these are values of things. So we value things with gold and silver. How much is this mug? It is 1 or 2 grams of this or that, silver or gold. So anything that is considered to be a value of things and the people accept it would fall under this category, such as dollars, euros, reals, dirhams, dinars, and the likes, the currencies. People accept these to be value, so it take the same ruling. You cannot exchange dollars with dollars unless they are equal. You cannot exchange dollars with euros unless it's on the same platform, done simultaneously, without any delay in time. The second category is of the other 4 mentioned items: barley, wheat, dates, and salt. And the scholars said that these are consumable or eatable items that can be stored and that can be weighed or measured by size, by liters or the likes. So anything that can be consumed and is weighed falls under the same category, such as corn and raisins and the likes. So if you come to your examples, 12 coins of copper for 10 coins of copper, coins are of value. You buy and sell things. So this is haram. But if you tell me 2 iPhones for a Samsung, that's permissible. Why? Because they don't fall under these 2 main categories. I want to swap my car with a newer model and I give the difference in cash after we agree upon. There's no problem in that. I hope this explains your or answers your question. Ahnaf from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, what is the ruling on using random number generator to get random scenarios? For example, I want to buy some players for my team, and instead of just like deciding how many players I would buy myself, I would put a number between 1 to 10 in random number generator, and whatever number would come up, that would be the amount of players I would pick. Is this halal?
So it's like flipping a coin, is it not?
Yes, it is.
No, this is not permissible. You have to make a choice of your own instead of selecting such a method where there is no need to resort to such a method, and Allah knows best. Yunus from Germany.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaykum salam Allah.
So, he said often that I have to pick one Sheikh and then follow him. Now, the thing is, I don't know who to follow with answers to all my questions. Like, you don't answer all my questions, I have to go for example, to Islam Q&A. So now, the thing is, if I, for example, pick you, okay, I'll follow Sheikh Asim, and I don't find an answer of you, who should I then follow? Because because the other ones also differ. So should I make it a ranking? So Asim, then Islam QA, then Dr. Muhammad Salah, so on and so forth. Or like, what should I do if my Sheikh doesn't have all answers? And can I switch Sheikh? So for example, if I move to Morocco, then like everyone's Maliki, I come there as Asim al-Hakimi, then I'm going to do everything different. I hope it's clear.
It is clear. However, this is something that is between you and Allah Azza wa Jal. The process is as follows. Number 1, you must follow the Quran, the authentic hadith, with the understanding of the 3 favorite generations. I don't have the ability to do this, Sheikh. I don't know the difference between Quran and the hadith. And if someone recites it or reads it to me in Arabic, I'm lost. In this case, you have to follow one trusted sheikh. And depending on the sheikh that is available for you. So if you have a ranking of who's to trust most, then you should follow that. if he's unavailable, or you try to call him and he doesn't pick up the phone because you usually call 6 times or 10 times or 15 or 20 times a day, and he's irritated from the frequency of your calls, so he decides not to pick up, then you go to the second in ranking, who's available. If not available, then to the third one. So you have to select those whom you believe that would save your neck on the day of judgment if you ask them, and that they are trustworthy, they're knowledgeable, and you trust that they're saying and doing the right thing to the best of your ability, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Khurram from Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, how are you today?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah.
Sheikh, my question for today. Sheikh, I needed some clarity regarding something. Suppose if I had an understanding with my father that of whatever he sends me monthly, I'll keep some for monthly expenses and give some as zakah for past years on my mother's jewelry. But he didn't know how much I was giving exactly, and still doesn't know the exact amount already given by me. However, after he got an idea that whatever I gave was a lot, he was shocked, indicating that he did not expect it that much. He said, I kept asking you, but you didn't use to tell me. He never specified at that time how much I'm allowed to give, but deep down I knew he might not be okay with it if I told him it was more than expected. Now I don't know if the money I gave as zakah was valid or not. If I ask him to forgive me for paying such a huge amount and accept the fact that it is given as zakah, would such zakah be valid, Sheikh?
If your mother authorized him and you, the answer is yes. If the mother did not authorize and you guys gave it without her authorization, you have to go and ask her for permission. If she gives you a permission afterwards, then that is valid. If not, then it is not valid. You have to go and clear it out with your father, and Allah knows best.
Thank you.
Ashiq from India.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
May Allah reward you enormously.
And you as well, barakallah feek.
Sheikh, my relatives are going to marry their daughter to my college mate while I was in college. They are inquiring about him. He was alcoholic during his college days, but now I don't know about him. Am I obliged to tell about him that he was alcoholic during college days, or leave it? Am I obliged to tell that?
Basically speaking, if a person used to commit sins, and these sins were between him and Allah, he did not commit them in public, and he was most likely remorseful, scared of them, but he's a human being. He was weak, and he fell into these sins while trying to conceal them. It is not permissible for you to disclose them at all. So if you know till date that he still drinks, you're obliged to tell your relatives that this person is not good for your daughter. They said, why? He said, you say to them, because he does a number of sins that I'm not at liberty to disclose to you, and if he were to propose to my sister, I would not accept her. If they insist, tell them this is what I have. You like it, alhamdulillah. You don't like it, go and ask someone else. I warned you. But if you don't know whether he had stopped or not, and it's been like 10 years since college days, people change in 10 years. So the least you could do is say, I don't know anything of him. He was a good person. He was like any other chap of us in the uni. We used to do a lot of sins. Nowadays, I cannot tell. So you have to ask someone who has fresh information about him, and Allah knows best. Muhammad from China.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you doing, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. How can I help you, Muhammad?
I would like to confirm a story that there was a time where Hazrat Bilal had some pronunciation problems, and some of the Sahaba told him that someone else should call the Fajr Adhan. And then at that day, the sun has not risen and it remained dark. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, replied that Allah has held back the sun as Bilal radiallahu anhu did not give the Fajr Adhan. Is this authentic?
No, of course not. This is not authentic at all, and it's not befitting of the Sunnah and of the Seerah and of Bilal, may Allah be pleased with him, to be involved in such Bollywood type stories. No, this is totally unreal and not true, and Allah knows best. Nosheen from India.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My question is, next week I'm going to travel, inshallah. So should I pray 2 rakats or 4 rakats of Isha prayer when combining it with Maghrib prayer?
A traveler has the concession from Allah Azza wa Jal to shorten 4 rak'ah prayers, such as Dhuhr, Asr, or Isha, and Isha, from 4 rak'ah to 2. Fajr remains as it is, Maghrib remain as it is. So shortening the prayer is mentioned in the Quran, and it's a concession from Allah Azza wa Jal for those traveling. They have no problem in doing this, as long as they carry the name traveler, as long as they're out of their outskirts of or the borders of their own hometown. Should they combine? This is permissible. Is it part of the Sunnah? No. It is to be done when needed. It's best to be prayed on time. How to combine? You have 2 sets. Set number 1, Dhuhr and Asr. Set number 2, Maghrib and Isha. The first set can be intermixed. So you can pray Dhuhr on time, and afterwards pray Asr ahead of its time, at the time of Dhuhr. Or delay your Dhuhr until it's Asr time, pray your Dhuhr 2 rak'ahs, and then combine, after you offer salam, the 2 rak'ahs of Asr. And the same thing is done with Maghrib. After sunset, you may pray Maghrib 3 rak'ahs, and then after salam, you may offer iqamah and pray 2 rak'ahs of Isha. Or delay the Maghrib and not pray it until it's 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Then you pray Maghrib 3 rak'ahs. Then after the salam, you pray 2 rak'ahs of Isha. And this is the gift and the concession of Allah to you, and Allah knows best. Abu Kalthum from Singapore.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ya Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, my eldest sister has been murtad for over 16 years. She's open and extremely staunch in her stance. She married a Hindu and has a son. My father and mother has been extremely close with her despite knowing that she's a murtad. And when I asked them about it, they said, with good akhlaq, she might come back. She's now poisoned my younger sister, 22 years old, in a way that my younger sister does everything that goes against the Sharia, like clubbing, hanging boys, has a lesbian best friends. The question is, I've been trying hard to convince my parents, but I am lost. What can I do to play my part?
Unfortunately, this is happening in some families that are far away from Allah, and that these families are ignorant of Islam. They've never read the Quran in their lives. They don't know the seerah and the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. They carry no great love to this religion. Rather, they love this world, to the extent that if they were given the choice between hellfire, but through this life, enjoying it to the fullest, or to paradise, but through carrying out the religion of Allah, they would choose the first, unfortunately. It's a test from Allah to you and to your family. You have done your due diligence. You should continue to advise your parents and warn them that they may leave the fold of Islam if they approve their daughter over her apostasy and over marrying a non-Muslim. If they approve such a marriage, this is kufr. They're apostates. Even if they pray and they fast and they say La ilaha illallah, just because they've approved and endorsed something that is in black and white in the Quran, stating that there is no such marriage, and they say, no, it's okay. As long as they have good character, the marriage is valid, they've gone out of the fold of Islam. Your sister is already a different story. Now, the younger sister, the problem is that clubbing and not wearing the hijab, these are symptoms of the disease. You try to force her to wear the hijab and to stop free mixing and having boyfriends and the likes. You're treating the symptoms, but not the core, not the chronic illness. So the symptoms will reappear in different forms. What you should do is attack the illness itself. The illness is the void of knowing Allah, of knowing Islam, of knowing the Quran and loving the Prophet Muhammad in her heart. So focus on introducing Allah from scratch. You're talking to someone who's almost not a Muslim. So you have to invite her to Allah, to the oneness of Allah, the greatness of Allah, to see Allah's wonders in herself, in the environment, in this universe, and to acquaint her with the beautiful names and attributes of Allah. Show her who the Prophet ﷺ is, how he lived, how he struggled so that we could receive this religion as it is today. And do your level best to be a good elder brother, kind and loving and compassionate, so you may save her from hellfire. But at the end of the day, it's your father who's responsible. He's the one who's going to roast and pay for his negligence of upbringing his children like this. And he's going to pay for it. The Prophet said, alayhi salam, all of you are shepherds. And a man is a shepherd over his family. And he's responsible and he will be questioned about all of that. May Allah save us from hellfire. Bilal from Serbia.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
So I had a question about the Salah of Istikhara. Some people, they've been telling me to do like Salah of Istikhara before I'm certain of something or after. So let's say, for example, I want a Samsung or an iPhone. I don't know what to choose. Should I do it like before I make like a decision or after? Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazakum. So, unfortunately, this is a very widely spread misconception upon people. They think that istikhara is to be performed when we're hesitant between choosing one of these two things. Should I go to this city or to this city? Should I study in this university or this university? Should I marry this woman or this woman? Should I buy this car or this car? I'm lost. So they say, pray istikhara and something will happen which makes you, that would make you have a choice. And this is totally wrong and bogus. If you read the translation of the dua, because istikhara is to be performed as two voluntary prayers, rak'ahs, a prayer of two voluntary prayers of two rak'ahs. After the salam, you make the dua. Allahumma inni astakhiruka bi'ilmik. Oh Allah, I ask you to choose for me with your knowledge and with your ability. And I ask you from your great favor. Oh Allah, if buying this mug, I don't have 6 mugs. No, I've made my decision. I'm going to buy this black mug. I made my decision. I'm not going to buy the purple one or the white one. I made my decision. So I make my dua. If buying this black mug has goodness for me in this life and in the hereafter, and all of my affairs, oh Allah, facilitate it for me and make it easy and make it happen. If not, then take it away from me and choose what is best otherwise for me and make me content with your decision. So you're basically asking Allah to make the decision that you've done go through if there is goodness in it. There has to be a decision first. And this is the beginning of the hadith. إِذَا هَمَّ أَحَدُكُمْ بِالْأَمْرِ. Whenever one of you intend to do something, not is hesitant between two things, he intends to do a particular thing, he made his decision, then he should pray 2 rak'ahs and make the dua that you've heard earlier. So what the people are telling you, Bilal, is totally wrong and not true, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. We have a short break, stay tuned, and inshallah we'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to talk about the book Interactions of the Greatest Leader. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us through his guidance and example that Islam is complete submission to the will of Allah. For one who submits, a mere declaration or display of belief will not be taken for success, but his or her heart and soul will certainly be put to test. Allah tested the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam severely in order that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam becomes an example for his companions to follow. Similarly, he tests the believer to see whether he lives a righteous life in accordance with the instructions and commands set by Allah, or lives according to what his desires dictate. Whether the faith he displays is firmly rooted in his heart, or is it merely on the surface. He will be tested to see whether he will continue to have faith and love of Allah when in a calamity, as he does when in comfort, whether he will continue to remember and worship him if given bounties and comforts of life, as he does when he lives a modest life. Allah will undoubtedly test him to see if his faith, trust and love of him is unconditional, or is it conditioned upon good health and a comfortable life, free from stress and anxiety. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed us through his own example that for a righteous Muslim, this life is a testing ground where he will continue to be tested until he meets Allah. For him, tests will be conducted on earth while he lives, and not after he dies. He knows that as soon as death arrives and he steps into the next world, his tests are over. There, he only receives the result of his tests and enjoys the fruits of the deeds that he committed during a short span of time called life.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. We have Sino from Austria.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
So my question is in regards to purity, as it causes me a lot of worries. So basically what I want to know is if my family members unfortunately consume najasa and like a few seconds after it they shake me the hand or they touch other things, what is the ruling on that? Because it's causing a lot of hardship, because I think it's not just because they touched it and they ate najasa, like, yes.
Okay, first of all, The Prophet ﷺ lived in Mecca for 13 years, surrounded by idol worshippers who consumed nothing but haram meat and najasa. Yet he used to sit with them, intermingle with them, shake hands with them, and not wash his clothes wherever he sat, or wash his hands whenever he touched a doorknob or shook hands with a non-Muslim. Which means that Islam is based on ease and simplicity. And this is always the question I ask those who come to me for counseling sessions. Is Islam a religion of ease and simplicity? Or is it a religion of hardship and difficulty? They all, without thinking, say it's a religion of ease and simplicity. Then I go and ask them, what you're practicing in your life today, is it ease and simplicity or hardship and difficulty? They all agree it is hardship and difficulty, which means that you're not practicing Islam. Simple as that. So do not pay any attention to what they eat or what they touch. If you don't see with your two eyes, with your own eyes, traces of najasa that you are 100% certain of. I don't think anyone in his right mind of your relatives would eat pork chops and with all the grease in his hand would touch utensils and the refrigerator, and you can see traces of such fat or such grease on these things. Nobody does this. So let go of your whispers of shaitan, because he's trying to introduce hardship and difficulty in your life. A man from India. Ya Aman. Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, inshallah, I'll be doing my bachelor's in engineering next year, and I'm confused which college should I select, because one is Islamic college where studies are moderate and there's no guarantee that I will get job, but the other college is non-Islamic and its studies are excellent. Also, it has guaranteed job offer after my third or fourth year. So which college should I select?
As long as there is no fitna on your religion and your Islam, you can go to a non-Islamic college while they provide you with good knowledge and information, and at the same time it is guaranteed that you will get a job. There's no problem in that, inshallah. Abdul Hadi from Pakistan.
Assalamualaikum Sheikh, how are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I'm fine, alhamdulillah.
So Sheikh, I watched one of your videos which was about 4 years old, and I was confused whether to say like in Salah we say Rabbana walakal hamd after we stand up. That was what I thought. And when I watched one of your videos that was 4 years old, it said you said that yes, when we rise up, then we say it. But I saw another one of your videos, which was a couple of months ago. In it, you said while we are rising, then we say Rabbana walakal hamd when we're in congregation. So I'm confused which when should I say it?
What's the difference between the two?
First is when I rise up, like completely, when I'm fully standing, then I say it, or when I'm rising, like while rising.
Okay, first of all, it is to be said while rising. Now, to rise from ruku' to standing up is like a second and a half. To say Rabbana wa lakal hamd, this is probably 3 seconds. So inevitably, while you're rising, you say Rabbana wa lakal hamd. You will be concluding half of it while in the standing position. What is not recommended is to say it when you are fully erected and you say Rabbana wa lakal hamd. Why? These statements are known as takbiratul intiqal, the takbir of movement. A lot of people, when they are in the standing position and they want to go to sujood, imams especially, they go ahead and make sujood. And once they touch the ground, they say, Allahu Akbar. And this is wrong, because they said Allahu Akbar, which is movement of takbir of movement, after they reached. Some of them, no, they do the opposite. While they're standing, they say Allahu Akbar, so that their voice would reach the microphone, and then they go for ruku' or for sujood. And this is problematic, because the moment they say Allahu Akbar, everybody behind them would go for the ruku' or for the sujood. So they would be ahead of the imam, which is very wrong. This is not correct. It is to be said while in between the positions, while moving. So likewise, when the imam says, Sami Allahu liman hamidah, you rise and say, Rabbana wa lakal hamd. Maybe you rise, you say, Rabbana, and immediately you're standing up, wa lakal hamd. There is no problem in that, and Allah knows best. Sumayya from the UK.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
So my question is, when we're doing ghusl or wudu, when we're rinsing our nose and mouth, the first rinse of the nose, when we blow out our nose and there's some water from the nose on our skin, do we have to wash that before we do the second rinse?
The answer is no. You don't need to wash it off. You just normally rinse your mouth and nose and move to the second and to the third one without cleansing or washing anything. You don't have to do that at all. Jokman from Germany.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam.
I wanted to ask that if Shias who believe in 12 Imams, are they Muslims?
First of all, we do not judge people by their affiliation. So those who believe in the 12 Imams among the Ithna Ashariya or the Imamiyya, and they're usually known as Al-Rafida. Some call them Al-Ja'fariyya, and this is when referring to the fiqh. We don't paint them with the same brush until we listen to what takes them out of the fold of Islam. Someone just saying that I am from this cult or sect, not necessarily he is a kafir. Most likely he is, if he knows their beliefs. So if they, who believe in the 12 Imams, believe that they are better than the prophets and lower than the messengers, as one of their Ayatullah said in his book, Al-Khilafatul Islamiyya, he said that our Imams are on a higher level than the prophets and below the messengers. If they slander Mother Aisha, whom Allah has exonerated her and purified her and stated clearly in the Quran that she is not sinful or she did not commit any sin or adulterous acts, and they say, no, she is. If they curse Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and the vast majority of companions, we have no doubt that these are disbelievers. We don't even say Assalamu alaikum to them. We don't eat the meat they slaughter. We cannot marry from their women folk because they're not Muslims at all. If they're laymen, they say nothing about Aisha or Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and the likes. They don't insult the Quran and say, no, there is a missing surah stating that Ali is the Khalifa, as these Rafida do. If they don't say this, then we don't say that they're kafir, and I hope this makes sense. Saad from India.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullah.
If the Imam is sometimes lazy or maybe he doesn't know how to recite properly. So if the Imam recites Fatiha loosely at like Iyaka and says Dad like Dal, so like Magdubi, or that he says Subhana Rabbiyal Azim like Lavina Val. So what is the ruling on this?
There are letters that are close in proximity when being pronounced, such as الضالين or الضالين. Of course, the appropriate way is to say غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. But sometimes the Arabs even say غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين, ض, and not ض. So the scholar said that because of the proximity of the place where these two letters come out, they may sound similar. This is permissible. It doesn't change the meaning. However, when it is alladhina and he says allazina, some Arabs even, like from Egypt and the likes, غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الذين صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. Allazina, no, this is totally unacceptable and the prayer is invalid because you've changed a letter drastically in the Quran when you have the ability. This is unlike someone from Bangladesh who is unable to pronounce the letters correctly. So his prayer is valid because this is the best of his ability. Someone who just embraced Islam, he cannot say maghdubi. He says maghdubi, do. Not maghdubi, maghdubi alayhim. This is totally fine because this is the best of his ability and Allah knows best. And we have to be a bit cautious because a lot of the Muslims nowadays are asking these questions, and in so many of these scenarios, it's only their heads camouflaging to them that he did not say the right letter. In one of the masjids I was praying the other day, the Imam said, غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. One of the people behind him said, مَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ, correcting him. What is this? And this guy is insisting that he's right and everybody else is wrong. And this is problematic. The man's prayer can be invalidated by him interfering in something he has no knowledge of, so be careful. Abdul Malik from France.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam.
Is it permissible for a woman to pray with large pants, for example, a large sweat pant?
To pray in what?
With large pants.
With large pants. Well, the prayer is valid, but she is sinful for not following the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ of having an outer garment. Her awra is covered, but this is not the appropriate attire for salat. And hence the scholars say, yes, the prayer is valid, but she is sinful for not wearing the outer garment, and Allah knows best. Muhsin from Germany.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What is the best way to make up for missed good deeds? For example, if I miss Fajr in congregation, can I post a video on a platform like TikTok or Instagram about the virtues of Fajr in congregation to gain back the missed reward or the missed deeds? The same with the sins. Like if I do a sin, can I post a video notifying the people that this sin like hardens your heart and stuff, just to make up, a form of making up? Barakallahu feekum, may Allah accept your good deeds and multiply them.
I mean, first of all, Muhsin, this is something that no one can answer you. Measuring the compensation of a missed fard or a sin that you have fallen into and compensating it with X, Y, Z, would it suffice or not? This is only known to Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran to follow sins with good deeds, for good deeds erase the bad deeds. How to quantify it and whether it would suffice or not, this is only in Allah's hands. You do as many good deeds as you wish and can, and the rest is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rifaz from Sri Lanka.
Hello, Sheikh.
Rifaz?
Yes, Sheikh, can you hear me?
Yes, but your line is breaking.
Hello? Hello, Sheikh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, yes, Sheikh. Yes, Sheikh, I have a question because I am a river to Islam. I have a question about how to play the Jummah prayer.
So what's your question?
My question is, Sheikh, is to how to play the Jummah prayer properly.
The line is breaking. I can't understand what Rifaz is saying. Talha from the UK.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My question is that in my school, like they have lots of haram things in the school. They have lots of things, haram things in the school. Like they make us do music. They make us have like indoor celebrations, stuff like that. And then I want to go to an Islamic school, yeah, but sometimes my parents don't have the ability to take me to an Islamic school, and they say that it's like times of fitna right now, so just try to avoid the major sins. So then, what I just do is I just try to do the minimum I can, and I try to avoid as much as I can, because the teacher says if I don't do like what they tell me to do, they're gonna call like the head teacher and stuff like that. So that's why I just try to do as much as little as I can in the sinning part. So am I sinful? Because I don't know what to do, because I can't go to an Islamic school. I've tried to tell my parents.
First of all, it is not permissible to engage in haram activities at school. We Muslims have a purpose on this earth, and that is to establish the religion of Allah and to carry His commands to the best of our ability. When we come to the fork of the road and we have to choose between following Sharia or following man-made laws and regulations, and when following man-made laws and regulations, I am completely disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal and falling into sin, I have to stop this and not do it, and would not justify it by saying, well, if I don't comply, this would happen and that would happen. At the end of the day, I'm, as a Muslim, ordered to not to fall into sin. And we're not talking about something that is mandatory as the law of the country, such as vehicle insurance, for example. Okay, there's nothing I can do. If I want to drive, I have to do that. But to go to a school and to listen to their nonsense, filth, and kufr and disbelief, maybe be forced to engage in physical education, freely mix, go to the swimming pool with the opposite gender, maybe have wrestling matches with the opposite gender and touching and coercing. What is this? When it's going to end? What's the bottom line? Where you say, no, taking off my clothes? No, I won't do this. Anything else is okay. So this is where you guys have to draw the line. Your parents have to draw the line. Allah did not force you to go to such countries and live among the disbelievers until you're stripped of your religion. You compromise your religion. You have to make a stand. They say it's democracy. They say this. Put your foot down and say, enough is enough. We're Muslims. We don't do these things. So this is the bottom line, that you have to find a way out of it, and may Allah make things easy for you. Muhammad from Switzerland.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Alaikum salam.
So I have a question regarding the prayer of a traveler. And this situation happened to someone I know yesterday. So it was my wife, and she went to a city 100 kilometers away from her house. So she was with me. Then she went to her dad's house, which is 50 kilometers from her house. So was she still considered as a traveler or not in this situation?
Yes, she is still a traveler because she's out of her hometown. So the minute she left her hometown on a journey that people consider to be traveling, in this case, she's a traveler. The more she goes to different places, even if it's 10 kilometers away from their destination, then 20, then 15, then 5, etc., they're still outside the skirts of their hometown, and they're on a journey and they're traveling, they're still considered to be travelers. Ibrahima from Guinea.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
May Allah grant you good health and Jannatul Firdaus.
And you as well.
I wanted to ask about kafar al-yamin. I don't know if my pronunciation is correct, about like expiating a vow. So I wanted to know if you have, let's say, 2 vows or 3, let's say more than 1 vow to expiate, and you have to feed 10 people. Can you give, let's say, 2 meals per people for like 2 vows, or does it have to be different people or different days?
Okay, first of all, I understand you. Kafaratul yamin, or an oath broken, is one of 3 things: freeing a slave, feeding or clothing 10 poor Muslims. If financially you can't do any of these 3 things, you move to the alternative, which is fasting 3 days. Only if you cannot financially do any of the 3 things mentioned earlier. Now, it is important that every expiation of an oath, that you feed 10 different people. I cannot bring 10 meals and give it to the same person for one oath. This is totally unacceptable. They have to be 10 different individuals, and they have to be Muslims. Old or young, male or female, it doesn't matter. If I have more than one expiation, like I said, wallahi, tomorrow I'm not going to drink green tea. Tomorrow I'm not going to drink black tea. So I have 2 expiations. If I broke them, these oaths, and I want to expiate, I can bring 20 meals and give 2 meals to one person of 10 different people. If I have 3 meals, I can give them 3 meals to each one, because these are different expiations. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, this total is 30. This is an expiation of 3 broken oaths. But if I broke 1 oath, I cannot give 2 meals to 5. And I say, okay, 2 by 5 equals 10. No, it has to be 1 meal for each individual, and of the 10, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have until we meet, hopefully after 3 weeks from today. I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
قل هذه سبيلي أدعو